What is the creepiest thing to happen in the history of Reddit? Struggling to find it, but I remember reading about a girl who lived on her own in a flat. She bent down to tie her shoe and noticed a guy laying in the dark under her bed. She pretended not to see and went to the bathroom, turned on the shower or something, locked the door, climbed out the window and called the police, who busted in and found the dude standing outside the bathroom door waiting for her to come out with a knife. Always creeps me out. Throwaway account cause. This is really personal. My last semester at a certain college, I was assaulted by a football player for walking where he was trying to drive. Note, he was 325 pounds, I was 120 pounds. While unconscious on the ground, I lived a different life. I met a wonderful young lady. She made my heart skip and my face red. I pursued her for months and dispatched a few jerk boyfriends before I finally won her over. After 2 years we got married and almost immediately she bore me a daughter. I had a great job and my wife didn't have to work outside of the house. When my daughter was 2, my wife, bore me a son. My son was the joy of my life. I would walk into his room every morning before I left for work and doted on him and my daughter. One day while sitting on the couch, I noticed that the perspective of the lamp was odd, like inverted. It was still in 3D but just wrong. It was a square lamp base, red with gold trim on 4 legs and a white square shade. I was transfixed. I couldn't look away from it. I stayed up all night staring at it. The next morning I didn't go to work. Something was just not right about that lamp. I stopped eating. I left the couch only to use the bathroom at first. Soon I stopped that too, as I wasn't eating or drinking. I stared at the fucking lamp for 3 days before my wife got really worried. She had someone come and try to talk to me. By this time my cognizance was breaking up and my wife was freaking out. She took the kids to her mother's house just before I had my epiphany. The lamp is not real. The house is not real. My wife, my kids. None of that is real. The last 10 years of my life are not fucking real. The lamp started to grow wider and deeper. It was still inverted dimensions. It took up my entire perspective and all I could see was red. I heard voices, screams, all kinds of weird noises, and I became aware of pain. A fucking shit ton of pain. The first words I said were, "I'm missing teeth," and opened my eyes. I was laying on my back on the sidewalk surrounded by people that I didn't know. Lots were freaking out. I was completely confused. At some point a cop scooped me up, dragged/walked me across the sidewalk and grass and threw me face down in the back of a cop car. I was still confused. I was taken to the hospital by the cop. Seems he didn't want to wait for the ambulance to arrive and give CT scans and shit. I went through about 3 years of horrid depression. I was grieving the loss of my wife and children and dealing with the knowledge that they never existed. I was scared that I was going insane, as I would cry myself to sleep hoping I would see her in my dreams. I never have, but sometimes I see my son, usually just a glimpse out of my peripheral vision. He is perpetually 5 years old and I can never hear what he says. Edit, 24 hours after post. Never though anyone would read this. I changed the line so that it no longer seems that my 2-year-old daughter bore a child. I have never seen Inception or the Star Trek episode so many have mentioned, but I will eventually. I will not do an AMA. I've had many PMs describing similar experiences and 3 posters stating such experiences are impossible. I'd say more research needs to be done on brain functions. Pre-med students, don't assume you know everything. A few have asked if they can write a book/screenplay/stage play/rage comic etc. Please consider this tale open source and have fun with it. I'm a little late to the party, but I remember this one story of a guy and his friend camping on a lake, and throughout the night kept seeing this flashlight on the other side slowly make its way around the lake. They were freaked out, so they went and hid in the woods away from their camp spot, and a guy with a gun came into their campsite and started yelling random things. I think I remember him even shooting randomly into the woods. That story scared the hell out of me. This still worries me to this day. The girl is extremely lucky. This occurred in Portland, Oregon at the end of July. So, I was really stupid and drank way too much. I was unable to get a ride home, so I took the bus. This was after telling several people I really wanted to go home and that is all I wanted to do. On the bus ride, I blacked out, so the rest of the story is what I heard from the police. After I got off of the bus, I fell on the sidewalk and was unable to stand. A man in a pickup truck stopped and dragged me to his car, hitting my head on the door and putting me inside. A witness followed his car, where he drove me over 20 minutes to a different county to his mobile home. He dragged me out of the car and up the steps into his home. According to the witness, I was unable to stand or support myself and didn't appear to know what was going on. The police arrived 6 minutes after I was taken into his home, where they found weapons, sex toys, and chains. I was told by several officers that they don't believe I would have been seen again, had someone not followed and saved me. The detective assigned to my case said that there was no case, because they couldn't prove kidnapping, as I couldn't remember the situation and I was not considered incapacitated by Oregon law, but when I looked up the legal definition, I was legally considered incapacitated. I called the supervisor, and he said he did not see anything in the report of me falling or being drugged, even though that is what I was told by 2 different officers. Is there anything I can do? I know it has been a while, but I was really traumatized by what happened and didn't feel up to fighting both my kidnapper and the police force. Now I feel obligated to get this predator off of the streets. It was just a single post in one of the uber-long confession posts, but it wasn't quite as Amara Puer's op comment makes it sound. Guy was friends with girl, also was in the same circles as boyfriends, found out boyfriend was cheating. Let her know anonymously once via quick email. It wasn't like her fabricated an entire scenario to groom her for himself over months. It was like, hey, your boyfriend's a dick, and then being friends he wasn't shit to her after she found out and she was like, yeah, why don't I try the not terrible human being out? She just never knew he was the one who tipped her off to confront the cheater in the first place, and he did it because he didn't want the truth to be obfuscated by the fact that he had a crush on her. Edit typing on phone is terrible, but I'm not fixing it, I'm sorry. Subscription is optional, but appreciated.